Yo, 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 yo. What's up, all you burners, stoners, and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there? Mrs. Weedman.
Mr. Weedman.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, I love you.
I love you too.
Oh.
Hey, everybody out there in the world. Hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. And we're about to get normal.
Yeah.
Let's get normal.
Let's get normal.
We are smoking Gorilla Glue grown by some traditional market folks called 3 Trees. And I'm super stoked because I've been wanting to smoke this for 2 weeks now, but I was saving it for the show. So I'm super psyched. And we are smoking Gorilla Glue. And this is, it's an OG strain. I mean, everybody knows Gorilla Glue. It's been around for a while. It's an indica dominant hybrid 60-40 sativa strain created through crossing the classic chocolate diesel and sour diesel strains. This bud packs a crazy powerful high that leaves you feeling like your mind is filled with glue, all fused with insanely potent between 25 and 28% average THC levels. The high starts with a cerebral rush that leaves you feeling happy yet totally hazy, with no hope of focusing on anything anytime soon.
Great. Why do we do this to ourselves?
But we do pretty well.
Yeah.
We do.
We hit moments of
yes.
not so well.
As your head high builds and builds, your body will be washed over with a deep body buzz, leaving you feeling completely stoned and immovable. These effects last for hours on end and often end up in deep sleep for the lesser experienced. Because of these effects, Gorilla Glue is said to be perfect for treating conditions such as chronic pain, depression, insomnia, nausea, and muscle spasms. This bud has super sour diesel chemical flavor that's incredibly harsh and sticks to your tongue long after you finish toking. The aroma is even more powerful, yeah, it is, I smell it from here, with a slightly sweet sour mocha effect that's accented by chemical diesel. Gorilla Glue buds have small, round, PC dark olive green nugs with purple undertones and a super frosty coating of tiny crystals and trichomes. The effects are body high, cerebral, happy, uplifting, chronic pain, symptoms it relieves, chronic pain, depression, insomnia, muscle spasms, and nausea. Flavors, chemical, chocolate, and coffee. And then aromas are coffee, sour, and sweet. I definitely smell like a coffee-ish smell to it.
Yeah.
What do you think of the taste, Mrs. Weedman? Taste buds tasting it today?
No.
No taste?
No taste.
Well, share that joint. Stop hogging it, Hoggy. Thank you very much. Got anything to say?
I would say I can tell it's an earthy strain, but I can't taste anything specific. I'm ready for that to kick in.
Ready for that to kick in?
I want to feel normal.
We're going to get normal. I like that phrase.
I love that.
Getting normal.
So good.
While I'm smoking,
Yeah.
we had a good weekend. It was beautiful out.
Yeah, it was
Phenomenally
like spring in
48
Chicago.
to 52 degrees all weekend long. I took Yuki
Even
out.
today.
Yeah, even today until the rain came. But took Yuki out and had a great day, 2 days with her on her training. And I've been working with her a lot on staying while I throw the ball because I want to take her disc golfing with me. How do you say it?
Disc golfing?
Not disc golfing.
Froth.
Thank you. I can't
You
say
can't
it.
say it.
Not at all. Been trying for years and you've been making fun of it. You even wrote it down 100 times and I still can't get
Can't get those
Can't
words.
get the words.
The letters.
So my ultimate goal with Yuki is to take her on the disc course with me and have her come on the course with me without a leash. So I can throw the disc, have her sit and stay while I throw my disc, and then throw her disc, so then to let her go fetch it. That's the ultimate goal. So the training started in the house when we play at night with her. I've been training her to sit and wait before I put the ball down and make her wait for like 10 seconds, and she's been doing phenomenal. So I took her out on Saturday and Sunday, and it was awesome. She did exactly what I've been training her for a week until we did in a big open field. The first couple of times she tried to go, and I make her stop and come back and reset before I'd fake throw the ball to see if she would run, and she tried. But eventually she would just sit and wait till I threw the ball, which is exactly what I'm looking for in her training. She's super smart. It's so amazing, and I did that in about 5 days' time. Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty excited and stoked about her training. Also this weekend, Sunday was the Super Bowl.
Very good game. I thought the Eagles were going to blow them out in that first quarter. It looked like it was going to be a blowout. And all of a sudden, the Chiefs turned it on, and it was a good game for a Super Bowl. I
felt like it wasn't time-wise, it wasn't fast, but there's a lot of commercials with the Super Bowl. But I feel like the Super Bowl is always playing later into the evening. It ended
at almost like 9:30.
I just feel like it was a fast-moving game.
Yes, it was a lot of offense.
Second half,
a lot of offensive
second
scoring.
half was fun.
Second half was fun. Commercials, nothing
Caught my eye.
There was a couple of good ones that we laughed at, but nothing.
There was a dog one.
Yeah, I don't remember.
They
that
joked about it was a spoof on Sarah McLachlan's song about the ASPCA.
Yes, that was a good one. That was the beer commercial. I think it was Bush.
And then there was a commercial with Coors Light and Miller Lite, like the brands fighting, and I'm like, what?
That was a good one too.
Mr. Weedman, having been in the beverage industry for a long time, no competitors got on a commercial together. It just didn't happen.
Well,
right?
Don't forget, the company's owned by the same Miller Coors.
I know, but it's just... But then what was it? It was a commercial for Blue Moon or something like that.
Well, they own
Summer
that too.
Shanty or something like that. It was, do they?
Yeah.
I just thought it was so funny.
It was a good one.
It was pretty funny.
What was really good, there was one really good commercial I think that got the world, and it was the Tubi commercial.
Tubi?
Yes, it's a TV app like Roku, and it's so basically they did a commercial, and they had the two announcers announcing the Super Bowl with the caption going behind them, like them showing like a play. And all of a sudden they're talking, and all of a sudden Tubi, the little like app screen comes up from the bottom, and someone picks an app and touches the screen and touches it and changes the game. So probably everybody in the world was like, what the fuck was going on? Like, because it looked pretty legit that there were two announcers. It looked like it was real.
Okay.
And I was reading some captions that people were posting about that one commercial. Going, man, I was yelling at my fucking son, thought he changed the channel during the middle of the game. It was really good. It was probably one of the one that was probably the most talked about I've seen on the social media and the intranet. You know, so it was kind of good to see that. It made me laugh.
There was a dog food commercial like minutes into the game, probably one of the first few commercials, and it showed the progression. It was like a girl, maybe she had just had a baby, and she was just like reliving her memories with her dog. So it was like a flashback of the puppy and her going through life together.
Oh, I remember that commercial. That was a tearjerker.
Oh my gosh. It was I'm like, come on, it's the Super Bowl.
That was a tearjerker.
And it was for this like natural wet dog food that you could buy, like a refrigerated dog food.
Yeah, it was a tearjerker. I remember that one too.
It was so cute.
I mean, it was very hard to... We started smoking, I think, like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually started smoking during my Sunday morning smoke sesh.
I started smoking Saturday morning.
Yeah, you
didn't
did.
Stop.
I didn't stop until we went to bed Sunday night. It's just 100%. Besides smoking and all the edibles we ate too. Yes.
Right. Oh, well, I should just say Friday night.
Yeah, Friday.
I mean, really, Friday after work. Hello.
We didn't stop until Sunday.
Didn't stop until nighty night.
Edibles,
Sunday.
Weed, tons of joints. It was good stuff. It was a good Super Bowl. And then we also made some good food. We made corn dogs
all weekend. We just had
we ate all. We didn't leave the house except to go for walks with the dog, and it was beautiful out. We didn't want to go anywhere, so it was great. But we made corn dogs. We made pizza setups.
Mm-hmm.
We ate all day.
People come by. Like we just do. Someone always stops by our house.
Yeah.
So my sister stopped by.
Yep.
She stayed for like 8 hours
and smoked weed. Great. Yeah, you guys. I think I packed 3 bowls for you.
Yeah.
On top of the edibles you ate too. So it was a good, fun weekend. Ending with the Super Bowl, it was a lot of fun. Also, the kicker. Today's Tuesday, but on Monday night you were taking pictures to put it on Instagram.
Yeah.
And you rolled your first true
it was bad.
joint. No, it was not. We posted it.
It closed.
It was a good joint.
I posted like a quarter of the joint.
It smoked. See how bad it smoked evenly. It was rolled pretty tightly. It had like one fat middle piece, and then it went down. But that was your first true joint you rolled.
It looked
and
like a
smoked.
little fatty, like
it was a
doink. See in like a 1960s
It was a doink.
Movie.
It was a doink. You rolled a doink. It was good.
The wick, like the twist at the end, was way too long.
It doesn't matter. You rolled a smokable joint for your first, like not your first try. You've tried it a couple times, but this was your first like real joint that you
really
rolled.
tried.
Yes, you did it. And now from moving forward, I said to Mrs. Weedman, I'm like, guess what you're doing? You're going to learn how to roll, and you're going to roll me joints every week.
Part of the problem is being a lefty, and everybody does it right-handed, and I can't figure out what end I should have the filter at, if it should be on my left or my right. I just need to like practice.
I bet you can go on the intro.
I just feel bad, like,
and type in
weed.
Type in left-handed joint rolling, and I bet you.
I forget about YouTube. So many people learn so much from YouTube.
YouTube's great if you use it correctly.
And I'm a visual learner.
I don't know
why is it not like the thing that's open first thing?
I don't know why you
I go to the MLS and I stare at houses all day. Like, damn it. I'm going to open YouTube and just have it open on my browser.
I actually sent you a list of stuff.
All of my questions that pop in my brain with my ADHD brain throughout the day that are so random, I'm just going to ask YouTube.
Ask YouTube.
I'm going
to. I've sent you, I think, a couple of websites to go on YouTube. What?
I do a lot of Google mapping.
You do.
I like to explore.
You do like to explore.
Like, that's
so now explore YouTube and learn. When you have questions, instead of asking me questions I can't answer all the time.
Yeah, I act like you're the encyclopedia.
I can answer a lot, but I can't answer everything. So, so good stuff. Man, I'm still impressed though that joint you rolled. So
it was okay.
I thought it was good.
It was cute.
So
it was a cute one. It was almost like a little cartoon character. I should have put a little face on it.
A little smiley
lit
face.
Its head.
You should have wrote on there Susan's first joint. We should have saved it.
I should have put it in a shadow box frame.
Break in case of emergency.
Be the year 2000 all over again.
My aunt actually had that when I was a kid.
Shadow box frame.
Yes, but it had a joint in there and it said, "In case of emergency, break glass." This was like the late 70s, early 80s. My Aunt Joycey,
because they had them at like Spencer's.
Yes,
mall.
But my Aunt Joycey actually had a real joint in there. Someone made it for her and gave it to her, and I used to look at it all the time and laugh. I had to be like 6.
You wanted it?
Oh yeah.
Was it just hanging like on monofilm?
No, it was like in a little it was held in there by something. I don't know how this person made it for her, but my Aunt Joycey is an old hippie burner. She smoked weed. I still probably smokes weed to this day. Yeah. But she had this, and we used to, as kids, used to pick it up. We knew what was in it because I told you my dad was a dealer, so it was. I knew what it was, and he smoked joints all the time. We would sit there and laugh in case of emergency, break glass, and there was a little hammer hanging off the side and a real joint inside that a friend of hers made. It was fucking great. So, speaking of joints, so you ready to get the show started?
Let's do it.
Let's go. You're going first.
I am?
Yes.
I get the first story?
Yes. So it's all about medical cannabis cards.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Well, it is a very good question. So this is a Benzinga article. It was just a staff writer there. And it is, who can tell I have a medical cannabis card? From cancer to Tourette syndrome, cannabis is proving to be an effective treatment for a variety of chronic health disorders. Despite its widespread use, medical cannabis legislation and the ramifications of obtaining a medical cannabis license are frequently misunderstood. Cannabis is still illegal under federal law. This means that anyone who discloses information about their use could be subject to prosecution. Patients expect their medical cannabis records to be kept confidential, just like any other medical data. Luckily, there are steps patients can take to protect personal information. Yes, you can trust that your medical information will be protected thanks to the HIPAA regulations. HIPAA is the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, and it is a law that includes security and data privacy provisions in order to protect patients' healthcare-related and medical information in the United States. HIPAA is a federal law that was signed by President Bill Clinton in 1996. It mandated the adoption of national standards to prevent sensitive patient information from being revealed without the patient's consent or knowledge, combating misuse, fraud, and waste in health insurance and healthcare delivery, as well as enhancing access to long-term care services and health insurance are among the other objectives. The HIPAA privacy rule is the first national policy in the U.S. to secure patients' personal or protected health information. It aims to preserve patients' privacy by requiring doctors to submit a list of all entities to whom they can disclose patients' information for billing and admin purposes. The privacy rule also protects people's rights to know and choose how their health information is used. The primary goal of the privacy rule is to guarantee that individuals' health information is effectively protected while allowing the flow of health information required to deliver and promote high-quality treatment and maintaining the public's health and well-being. So, is a medical cannabis card included in a background check? Background checks will not reveal that you were granted a medical marijuana card. HIPAA still protects this information because technically your state-issued card can only be obtained with a doctor's medical recommendation. Though HIPAA may keep the status of your consumption private, it's vital to note that the state-issued card is not. Although state officials are not permitted to obtain or transmit that information to employers. There is no way to access the data without permission, and your personal information, such as your social security number, is not included. That means that when you go to a dispensary, they can only check to see if your card is genuine. They can't view anything more about your health or personal information. So would it be included in a federal background check? Well, technically, simply having a medical marijuana card will not appear on a federal background check. However, this does not rule out the possibility of your marijuana use being detected. While a medical cannabis card will not appear on a federal background check, if you have any run-ins with the law related to cannabis usage or possession, even if it was medical, you may still face issues if your criminal background check is run. Keep in mind that federal and state laws are very different. Cannabis is still prohibited in the United States at a federal level. Can my employers access medical marijuana records? No, they can't. Your employer will never be able to acquire access to that type of sensitive information.
Good.
Nor will it be accessible to any future landlord or bank. Even if you utilize your company's doctor and the information is revealed in your medical report, the doctor is not allowed to share any information with your employer. Your information is secure, but it's up to you to exercise caution and keep your use hidden. Cannabis law on employment. Just because cannabis is legal in many states doesn't mean it's permitted in the workplace. Employers can terminate, punish, or take other disciplinary actions against an employee who uses cannabis at work or shows up to work while under the influence, even if the individual requires it to cure a medication or a medical condition. Several states have laws prohibiting employers from discriminating against medical marijuana cardholders or terminating employees who test positive on the job. Some of these states additionally require employers to fairly accommodate an employee who requires medical marijuana to treat a medical condition. Most states that have legalized medical or recreational cannabis leave testing decisions at the discretion of individual employers. According to the National Conference of State Legislators, employers can't take medical cannabis use or positive drug test results into account when making hiring and firing decisions. I did not know that. Provided that the employee does not bring their medical cannabis to work, they are not working in a job that could cause serious harm to others, and they are not working in a federally related position. So, some ways to boost up the protection on your personal health information. Well, medical cannabis cards shouldn't include your personal information. The card should only include the issue and expiration date, a passport-style photo, your number, and the name of the state. Even in states where cannabis is recreationally allowed, don't flaunt your use because it is federally outlawed. It's common sense not to advertise your use on social media, for example. Visit a dispensary that is far from your workplace. Otherwise, you risk being seen entering a dispensary by a company employee. That little tattletale coworker. Go smoke some weed.
Nobody likes a rat.
Yeah. Do your own background check. With so many trustworthy online background check services available, it's never been easier to go ahead of your employer or get ahead of your employer by conducting your own background assessment. Periodic personal background checks will also keep your personal and professional public profiles up to date. And stay informed. While your health data will be padlocked from anyone on the outside looking in, it is your job as a cannabis consumer to use common sense and remain up to date on your state's legislative changes. And that's all, folks.
Nice. And just so you know, that article was originally published by the Cannabis community.
Oh.
Yeah, their website.
Cool.
What is Delta 11? Another one. And as DJ Khalid says, another one.
Another one.
The reason why I said that is I was just listening to him. So, just when you thought you knew all the cannabinoids in the hemp plant, a new compound has emerged. And trust us, when High Time says it, you don't want to miss out on it. Delta 11 is yet another naturally occurring, extremely trace cannabinoid found in hemp. With new technology has allowed us to isolate and explore to see what this can offer. And while Delta 11 is still quite new, it's already showing a lot of promise in the industry. Let's explore what it does and how effective it is. Binoid is one of the few brands that have embraced Delta 11 and learning more about it. So what exactly is Delta 11? Delta 11 is a legitimate cannabinoid in hemp rather than a synthetic cannabinoid. Well, that's good. Riding on the coattails of hemp's growing popularity, first referenced in the early 1970s, there is very, very little information about it out there. And the fact that it's psychoactive, which isn't surprising, considering that we know about THC compounds in general. Like other THC compounds, Delta 11 is structurally similar to the prominent cannabinoids, meaning that the molecules offer forms of THC along with CBD can be arranged to produce Delta 11 isolates at an efficient rate. Is Delta 11 THC identical to 11-hydroxy-THC? A common mistake in confusing Delta 11 with 11-hydroxy-THC, a metabolite found in the liver. These are two different things entirely. In fact, just simply Google the search Delta 11 THC and see a lot of results of THC metabolite called 11-hydroxy-THC, which isn't the same thing as a natural phytocannabinoid Delta 11 THC. Don't forget, 11-hydroxy is when you eat THC, it has to be to go through the liver.
Right.
And when it produces, the liver produces 11-hydroxy THC that then travels through your bloodstream. So when you eat it, it has to be processed through your liver to turn into 11-hydroxy. So this is totally different. 11.
But now you're ingesting it as 11.
But Delta 11 THC comes from the plant, the hemp plant. 11-hydroxy THC is formed in your body after you eat THC.
It's a chemical reaction.
Yes. It has become more recognizable in the field of cannabis pharmacokinetics that 11-hydroxy THC is what Delta 9 metabolizes into once it gets broken down by the liver's enzymes, serving as a middleman of sorts before converting it into THC-COOH. THC-CO, which is what triggers a positive urine drug test results. Haha. So we talked about Delta 8, we talk about Delta 9, we talk about Delta 10, and we talk about Delta 11. This is all the verse each other. Essentially, THC form interacts with your body in a modified way. Why, Mrs. Weedman? This is mainly due to its unique chemical structure. These differences are unlikely to result in harm, but we'll need to wait for more data to come out before making firm conclusions regarding the comparative benefits of the various natural forms. How high can you get from Delta 11? Again, information of the cannabinoid is very limited, but one study suggested that Delta 11 is about 3 times as intoxicating as Delta 9, but that has yet to be verified by more research. But with more anecdotal reviews, we should be able to understand more about how strong Delta 11 is. What benefits does Delta 11 have? Here's another area where we know very little about. No studies have been shown the properties of Delta 11 THC outside of its intoxicating nature. What is known is that as a cannabinoid, Delta 11 works with the cannabinoid receptors found throughout the body that regulate processes like mood, pain, inflammation. Yeah, there's a lot of inflation too out there. Inflammation, sleep, cognition, among many others, which
processes Delta 11 flavors when it comes to offering regulatory abilities remains to be seen. What kind of products is Delta 11 coming to? Gummies, edibles, and vapes. It's out there. No laws single out Delta 11. Like Delta 8 right now is getting brutally beaten, and some of the other cannabinoids now are too, which is just so fucking weird. Why are you banning some of these cannabinoids in states? It just doesn't make any sense to me. When you have, well, it does make sense in some ways because it's not going through a dispensary and they're not getting heavy taxed on it and they're not regulating it like they should. That I understand. But it's part of the plant. Mm-hmm. So the only thing that was actually ever illegal was THC, federally illegal coming out of there. But then they did the hemp law. So everything coming out of hemp is legal. But what they're missing out on is some of these cannabinoids that could be really worth it. So check your states to see if it's legal or not. Is it safe? Ask for the safety of Delta 11. There's no outside studies to refer to, but there's no reason to believe it's unsafe in any way. Delta 11 is structurally similar to many cannabinoids you've all taken over the years, and to date, there has not been a single toxic compound found in the hemp plant, even in its isolated and concentrated form. So Delta 11 likely comes with the same mild temporary side effects as some forms of THC, which is dry mouth, dry eyes, dizziness, faint, fatigue, drowsiness, impaired motor function. So it's just another good way to enjoy hemp. Pretty good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hangovers, but not alcohol hangovers. Mm-hmm. What kind of hangover we're talking about here?
Well, we're actually talking about there being no evidence of a cannabis hangover. And this was in a recent study. So in the newest edition of Positive Cannabis Studies, one research effort found that there is no evidence of next day effects of THC after consumption. This is by Nicole Porter. The University of Sydney announced its findings on February 6th, sharing that there isn't any evidence of cannabis hangovers or effects of cannabis that continue hours or days after consumption. The study is slated to appear in the print version of the journal Cannabis and Cannabinoid Research soon, but the print version will be available soon, but it is available now for online viewing. The authors analyzed 20 different research studies that examined THC at its lingering effects, or lack thereof, at least 8 hours after consumption occurred. According to Dr. Danielle McCartney, the research fellow at the Lambert Initiative for Cannabinoid Therapeutics, there wasn't much evidence of cannabis affecting individuals long term. She said most studies didn't detect next day effects of cannabis use, and a few that did had significant limitations, McCartney said in a press release. Overall, it appears that there is a limited scientific bit of evidence to support the assertion that cannabis use impairs next day performance, though further research is still required to fully address this issue. Of the 20 studies reviewed, 61% reported no next day effects, 35% reported unclear or ambiguous, unambiguous next day effects, and 4% reported negative next day effects, which were noted as low quality studies, though, or studies that were published over 18 years ago. We can't really comment on the magnitude of these effects because they weren't well reported, McCartney said. They didn't appear to be associated with a specific dose of THC, route of THC administration, or type of assessment. Pinpointing impairments in individuals continues to be a challenge for cannabis consumers, especially when it comes to detecting such effects on drivers or those who work in a specific type of workplace. THC can be persistent in blood and oral fluid for an extended period of time, McCartney explained, so it is important to find out whether impairment can persist, too. People are being advised not to drive or perform safety-sensitive tasks for 24 hours after cannabis use. However, we found little evidence to support this recommendation. I love that. The research authors cautioned legislators to consider how individuals who use medical cannabis and are not impaired still suffer from lack of accurate testing methods. However, Policymakers should bear in mind that the implementation of very conservative workplace regulations can have serious consequences and impact the quality of life of individuals who are required to abstain from medical cannabis use to treat conditions such as insomnia or chronic pain for fear of positive workplace or roadside drug tests, the author wrote. Such evidence of this is seen in a study that appeared in Natural Scientific Reports in March of 2022, which also found that THC levels in blood or breath tests do not correlate to impairment. The study was also led by McCartney and also came to a similar conclusion. Higher blood THC concentrations were only weakly associated with increased impairment in occasional cannabis users, while no significant relationship was detected in regular cannabis users, McCartney said. This suggests that blood and oral fluid THC concentrations are relatively poor indicators of cannabis THC-induced impairment. Many patients continue to be negatively affected by the lack of accurate testing, potentially preventing them from using cannabis as a medicine. A recent study from the University of Michigan found that 31% of adults use cannabis to treat chronic pain. Another study from December of 2022 found positive effects of cannabis for those who suffer from bipolar disorder. So it's pretty interesting that this doctor's pretty adamant about finding a way to find actual impairment levels.
Yeah, I think it's
rather
great.
Than just a positive negative.
Yeah, that's a good study. I mean, have you ever had I would never say I had a cannabis hangover, but I've woke up a little foggy.
I've woken up
maybe still stoned from like a late night edible.
Late night edible.
Like maybe we took it too late.
And you have to get up too early the next day. You haven't had
Well, I remember that
sleep.
one edible time you took and you still woke up stoned.
Yeah, I woke up, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I had to go drive and pick up O-Dog from
I had
work.
to go drive and I'm like, you can't do that. And I fell right back into bed.
Yes,
Bonk.
you did.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Nighty night.
Could there be a cannabis tipping point in 2023? Is it possible? Cannabis is already legal in 21 states, DC, and 3 territories. It's on the ballot in Oklahoma in March, and now it's up for debate in nearly a dozen legislators. If even a few bills squeak through, pressure will build on Congress to address the reality that more than half of the United States has fully legalized something that remains prohibited under federal law. It's just still ridiculous to me. Many of the bills don't stand a chance of passage as they're up against Republican-controlled legislators, Republican governors, or both, and cannabis reform efforts often face the highest hurdles in red states, as Cannabis Wire has reported. In Indiana, for example, lawmakers haven't even agreed to allow for medical cannabis, and they're therefore unlikely to advance adult use legalization on the table. That governor said if it goes federally legal, he'll do it. And there has been some bipartisan talks, which is good. But in at least one state, Minnesota's legalization is all but a done deal. As Cannabis Wire recently reported that this is because Democrats gained control of both legislative chambers and the governor is on board, and 2 other states where the Dem governors are eager for adult use legalization. Pennsylvania, where medical cannabis is already legal, and Wisconsin, the legislative makeup has shifted in favor of reform, but not enough to create a clear path to passage. No cannabis bills have yet been proposed in either state this year. It's worth highlighting that support for legalization doesn't always come down to party. Delaware Governor John Carney, for example, is opposed, while Republican lawmakers are increasingly moving at a snail's pace, putting forth proposals for cannabis law reform. As Cannabis Wire has reported, Americans for Prosperity is focused on the GOP-led efforts at the state and federal level. Here's my, and Mrs. Weedman, you've heard me say this many a times. Put it on the ballot. Let the people decide. You should have no right as governors and senators and Republican and Democrats and House representatives. And now I'm talking about per state, not federally. You should have no right in making that decision. the people of your state who put you in office should have the right to make that decision if they want it in their state. And then once it's passed, then you all sit down and write the laws and do it in a timely manner. It should not take year, 2 years to write this. It should take you a month to get it right and reviewed because your people in your state want it. So here's some adult use possible. Delaware, lawmakers in Delaware are considering a pair of bills that address legal possession and regulation. Hawaii, while there are a handful of bills that would legalize cannabis for adults, the bill in the spotlight is HB 237. The new governor, Josh Green, is in favor towards legalization, and the previous governor. So the chances of passage have increased. Democrats control the legislature, but I also read that there's a lot of people in the government that are trying to stop it too. So, crazy. Louisiana, so far, the only bill on the table is HB 17, has been proposed by a Democrat to legalize cannabis for adult use. Minnesota, adult use bill HF 100 is making its way through the legislature. It was kind of funny. I was talking to Big Earl, and he was listening to the show. He's like, he studied poli-sci, I guess, right? Political science. Mm-hmm. And he was saying, because I made a comment in the last episode about how many houses do you have to build to get up that level to get to, like. And he gave me the explanation, and it was kind of funny. He said, they do this to get more bills in there, You do this, well, then you have to put this in there. So that's why it has to keep on getting voted on. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, it's pork. I said, of course it's pork. It's full of bacon. That's why they fucking do it. So they same thing here in the federal legalization too. When they were trying to sneak the banking bill into when there was another bill and the Republicans stopped it because they said, this is not about cannabis. This is about this. So stop trying to sneak a bill in and write just one bill and get it done. It's just so fucked up. New Hampshire, among the adult use efforts in the state, which is surrounded by states and Canada with legal cannabis. One bill is in focus, HB 639. West Virginia, take me home. Lawmakers have put forth both the joint resolution and legislation on adult use. The joint resolution HJR 21 has 11 sponsors from both parties, while only Democrats have introduced the bills. Chances of passing are slim. We'll see. Adult use and medical use. Indiana. Several bills have been introduced for medical or adult use. For example, would legalize this HB 1039 would legalize and regulate both, but only chance cannabis is rescheduled federally. Like I said, Iowa still shocks me that they're not even like they have a small medical program, but not even like a big medical program, like the whole state. It's weird. The state currently only has a limited medical cannabinoid program with 5 shops in the state, so the chances are slim. For the bill SF 73. Sucks. Kentucky. It's another state. I'm just shocked. There's so much CBD and there's so much beautifully grown cannabis in the mountains. Oh, governor has long urged the Republican-controlled legislators to legalize medical cannabis with no success. Terrible. Nebraska. Path forward reform has filled with twists and turns. Advocates got legalization on the ballot in 2020 to see it stripped away by the Supreme Court before Election Day. Terrible. Tennessee, both medical cannabis legislation such as Tennessee Medical Cannabis and adult use legislation such as Free All Cannabis for Tennessee Act, both of which have Democrat and Republican sponsors, are unlikely to pass Republican-controlled legislature, but they are nonetheless up for debate. Sucks because it's CBD everywhere in that state. So, Texas currently has a limited medical cannabis program in which patients can access non-smokable, low THC products in 3 shops. That's a big fucking state to only have 3 shops. Bills in both the House and Senate introduced by Democrats are aimed to expand medical cannabis program. HB 1200 and HB 1831. Medical use. Kansas. Come on, Dorothy. Let's go. The legislature will yet again consider making medical cannabis SB 135 and SB 171 up for debate. Put it on the ballot. Let the voters decide. North Carolina, which is crazy. SB 3, also known as North Carolina Compassion Act, already has 13 sponsors, both Democrats and Republicans. But the Republicans control the legislature. And the governor does support cannabis reform. And back in 2020, converted a task force for racial equity and criminal justice that recommended decriminalization. South Carolina, which, man, that one representative was trying hard to get it passed. Last year, the Senate passed the South Carolina Compassion Care Act, at the time, but that's as far as it got by the session end. And Tom Davis, Republican, is trying again with 43. Republicans control the legislature, and Governor Henry McMaster, Wicca, has been lukewarm about medical cannabis legalization. So hopefully one of your states that I mentioned gets something done this year. Be great. We talked about this a little bit last week, and this is about Missouri. And their sales of $12 million and the impact it's going to have on the market in the Midwest, and especially this state we live in. All 200 medical dispensaries have converted or will soon convert to recreational. The state could reach $1.6 billion in 2 to 3 years. That's what Illinois did this year. So they're predicting that's going to, in like 2 to 3 years, do $1.6 billion. Missouri has lower prices and lower taxes and more stores in Illinois, said Zunick in this report and analysis, both markets by following affordability, access, assortment, and shops in both states. So let's talk about affordability. Missouri has the cheapest legal weed in the Midwest, per the report. Their medium flower price is $36 for an eighth, he said. That is lower than the neighboring Illinois, where median retail price in Q4 was still $15 to $20 per gram or $50 per eighth. Access, according to analysis, there are 200 stores in Missouri with 71 in the St. Louis area. 71. And 44 in Kansas City. While Missouri was medical, there were only 4 stores on the Illinois side near St. Louis. Assortment. A scan of menu shows most formats available with various brands. Per the report, however, Cantor's analysis said they do not have wholesale price data for Missouri. Out-of-state shoppers. Missouri is so close to those states with adult use cannabis is not legal yet. Arkansas, it's medical, but not recreational. Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, and Tennessee. And Kentucky's pretty close too. True shoppers from Iowa and Tennessee may no longer be going to Illinois, but Missouri for pricing. Just like here too, like the border of Illinois and Indiana. People from Illinois go to Michigan because it's cheaper. You get a fucking ounce for $75, $100 in some shops. So the impact, says Zunick, 30% of the sales in Illinois come from out-of-state shoppers. He assumes there will be a decline rather meaningfully. He added that this may not be just about inbound traffic, as Illinois-based consumers could drive to Missouri now. Stores in greater Chicago area may be more insulated, but those near the borders will be impacted. And there's 4 stores around the border there. They're going to be impacted, unfortunately. Missouri could quickly become an attractive market and one where MSOs begin to acquire local operators. It's already happening. All is assuming licensing remains limited. You fucked up, Illinois. You're greedy. And now you're going to pay the piper. Because all these other states are going to come around quick. Because once Missouri is taking all that business away from you, what are you going to do? What you going to do when Missouri comes after you, Illinois?
Whoa. Whoa.
Little Hulkster reference.
That's intense.
Hey, Virginia Senate, though, approves cannabis sales and psilocybin rescheduling bills, sending them to the House. It's official. Maryland to roll out recreational cannabis market only 8 months after voter approval. That's big. That's pretty quick. It's like Missouri. They did it quick too. States trying to move forward to Florida, trying to get accept applications for 22 medical cannabis licenses in late April. It's a long way to move. If you want to spend $30 to $50 million on a license, good luck to you. Because that's what they charge in that fucking state. And DeSantis thinks it's not enough. Here's something cool. And I'm surprised that this isn't just legal across the country in every state that's legal or decriminalized. California lawmakers introduced cannabis cafe bill, and it looks like it's going to move through pretty quickly.
Sweet.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, they are like many years ahead of us, though, in laws and
Not Nevada. They're doing it quicker than they're doing hotels too.
Yeah, they are.
So here's my thing about this. We wanted to do one.
Yep.
We think it's great. I think it's a safe haven for people to come and enjoy their weed. The thing that you can't do is sell it if you just have a little space that you people have to bring their own. So how do you truly make money? By selling coffee and drinks and renting tables out and renting out your accessories and shit like that. But it's a safe place for people to come with no alcohol involved to be able to enjoy cannabis socially in a bar type atmosphere or a cafe style atmosphere like you would see in Amsterdam. So to me, like the state of Illinois has one, and I just heard of another one possibly opening up over in Worth. Someone was saying that it's over by one of the dispensaries over there. I haven't been over there yet to check it out. But if you're in a state that it's legal, medical, or decriminalized, and you don't have a safe, besides your home or a family or friend's house, if you don't have a safe place or a fun place or an exciting place to go enjoy cannabis socially in a cool environment, I think it's wrong. That's just I've been saying this for a while. I think it's fucked up. If you can go out to a bar and there's fucking how many bars in this state and across the country and get your fucking self shit-faced and do shots and make an ass out of yourself, why can't you go to have a cannabis bar or a cannabis cafe and enjoy your cannabis in a peaceful, nice, social atmosphere? And this is the thing that pisses me off about the stigmatized or the stigma of cannabis and still not allowing it, but you're allowed to fucking get shit-faced and puke all over your fucking self and make yourself look like an ass or get a DUI or get into a fucking car wreck. This is the problem in this hypocritical fucking country. Get your shit together. Get fucking going. Fight to stop this stigma and free the fucking plant in every state that we're in and get what we stoners, burners, potheads, newbie smokers, people of fucking hippie, whoever, we should be allowed to have a cannabis cafe, consumption lounges, whatever. It's fucking bullshit. And I'll end on that.
And just on a little lighter note about that, one of the objections to us having it was that how would we, it wouldn't be enough of an income generator, a tax income generator, right? They're not going to make a ton of money off of it. I get that. We could find ways to make that happen. Not a problem. But the bigger problem was that there's dram insurance for bars and restaurants. So it's like a liability insurance. So when the person who's been drinking in your establishment all day goes and drives home and crashes, or is the cause of a crash, the liability isn't on the bar, right? Well, there is no such standard for, again, it's like,
true.
We want this industry to happen, but the laws and the changes are very vast. Like there's a lot of different places where cannabis use touches, and one of them is liabilities. And so there is no insurance policy that would cover a business and for liability for that. I
get it.
So it's a legit concern, but
here's
it's
the
happening.
Thing. But wait. Can I say something about that? You did not serve that patron cannabis.
Right.
They brought it into a public space or a private space to consume it. I did not give them any.
Right.
I did not sell them any. They came into the establishment on their own and went and left on their own.
I know, but it's just a technicality. And
what technicality is it? I'm not selling it.
I know, but municipalities and these governments for the towns and cities, it's uncomfortable because they don't understand.
100%.
Right?
Yep.
And that's what it comes down to. And so the laws aren't in place, insurance policies, rules and protocols and testing and all these things. We're like ahead, like we're progressing it before there's things that can accommodate our businesses to work. So
I'm done.
There's a lot of attorneys out there fighting, though, to make all of these things come together.
I understand that.
It's just time.
Not taking time. It's taking too much time. It's time that it happens now.
Right.
Coloradoans can now buy weed from vending machines. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and it's true.
That's pretty cool.
Yes, there's a picture of a touch screen here, and you can touch and pick your weed, and it poops out. And I think there's like a little like ATM where you can put your card in, and you can put your
put the box in, like the box comes out and you scan your ID and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty dope.
That is cool.
Yeah. Could House Republicans end cannabis prohibition? Can they really? If there was ever a better time to do it, now would be the time. So we'll see. I don't know. Now, I've made cannabis tea before.
Yeah.
And I loved it. There's some research out there. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we were kind of unsure. Like, we didn't really know. We juiced it. We basically juiced it, right?
Well, I boiled. I made a tea. I steeped it. I put a bunch of leaves in there,
but the first few times we juiced it.
Yeah, we juiced it, which is great too. Yeah. But yeah, so I took a big pot, put like you're gonna say it for me, 5 tea
bags. That's an inside joke that I'm sure most can
very
understand.
Inside joke. Happy Valentine's Day. Anyway, yes, and put like, I don't know, I put a shit ton of leaves in there and some stems and some buds in there.
Where?
In the tea.
In the tea what?
In the teapot.
What?
And boiled it and steeped it.
Oh, you're so sneaky.
You're not that good. So, and it was delicious. And I had it for about 2 weeks and I would drink a nice little, I like cold tea. So I like iced tea and it was fucking fantastic. And we happened to use our friend Metro's wife's tea company. I don't remember the name of it, but it was delicious. And so it was good. So there's some research out there. Tell us about it.
Yeah. What does research say about the health benefits of cannabis tea? This was originally printed in Thailand. It's called the Tiger.com. Anyway, since the legalization of cannabis in Thailand last year, this once controversial plant has been making headlines for its numerous health benefits. From pain relief to improved sleep, the positive effects of cannabis are undeniable. But what about cannabis tea? Is it just as beneficial as smoking or ingesting cannabis in other forms? According to recent studies, the answer is a resounding yes. Cannabis tea, also popular as weed tea or THC tea, is a delicious and effective way to enjoy the benefits of cannabis. Let's take a closer look at what the research tells us about this exciting new trend. Cannabis tea is simply tea brewed from the leaves and flowers of the cannabis plant. You can make it from either cannabis or hemp, depending on the effect you want to achieve. While cannabis contains high levels of THC, hemp contains only trace amounts. Therefore, hemp is a great option for those looking for the health benefits of cannabis without the psychoactive effects. When you drink cannabis tea, the THC and other beneficial compounds are absorbed through your digestive system rather than your lungs. This means that the effects of the tea are slower to onset but longer lasting than smoking or inhaling. The exact time it takes for you to feel the effects of tea varies depending on your overall condition. However, it typically takes between 30 minutes and 2 hours, so like an edible, and the effects can last for several hours. Therefore, consuming weed in the form of tea is a great option for those seeking long-term pain relief, as well as those who want to improve their sleep. So what are the specific health benefits of cannabis tea? Well, here are just a few that have been reported. Pain relief. One of the most popular benefits of cannabis is the ability to provide pain relief. Many people find that the long-lasting effects of the tea make it even more effective for managing chronic pain. Improved sleep. Cannabis has been shown to improve sleep, and this is true for cannabis tea as well. Drinking a cup of tea before bed can help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer, leading to better quality sleep and improved overall health. Better appetite control. Cannabis has been shown to stimulate the appetite, and this is true for cannabis teas as well. Drinking a cup of this tea before a meal can help you eat less. That doesn't make sense to me, leading to better weight control and improved health. If they're saying it's an appetite stimulant, how is it going to help you have better appetite control? Because if I drank it, then I'm going to get the munchies.
I didn't.
No?
No, not at all.
Does it just make you feel full, maybe?
No, just go ahead, finish up and we'll talk about it.
Reduced anxiety. Cannabis has also been shown to have calming effects on the mind and body, reducing anxiety and promoting relaxation.
That I agree with 100%.
Yeah.
That was what I was going to say.
Drinking this plant in tea form can help you manage stress and anxiety, allowing you to feel more relaxed and centered. How to make cannabis tea? Making cannabis tea is easy. You can basically do it with just a few simple ingredients. Simply steep the cannabis leaves in hot water for 10 to 15 minutes. You can add tea leaves or herbs for flavor, as well as sweetener or lemon if you want.
I added honey. Mm-hmm. It's great.
Stir well and enjoy. So next time you're in search of a healthy and enjoyable way to improve your well-being, consider giving hemp or cannabis tea a try. You might be pleasantly surprised by the results.
I loved it. You didn't drink a lot of it.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I'm about to do another grow right now. I got germination going on, and I'm definitely making some tea on that next one, again with the leaves and some stems, and put a couple buds in there for good luck to a tree.
I wonder if you dehydrated the leaves, the fan leaves.
No, I went
and then but then mixed then you'd have dry leaves, crumble them up and mix it with like an herbal tea.
And what do you have to put it in to make it do that though?
Shush. A teapot. A teapot.
I have a whole jar of dried leaves that I still have from the last grow that I was going to make butter with a bunch of mids and lows.
Those are like closer to the bud. They're sticky, aren't they?
Some of them are. There's some sugar leaf in there, which is great, and then there's some regular leaves in there too. I could do both. So we could probably make some tea and put it in what?
A steeping facilitator. I will not say the 3-letter word that starts with B, ends with G, and has an A in the middle.
Okay, so a quick little story about this. This is an inside joke.
It's not even funny anymore.
It is funny.
It's not. It's
even still funny because So why is it? Here's the reason why.
Some more weed.
Here's the reason why it's funny.
This is great weed.
It's nice. It's mellow. So here's something funny. Actually, since we'll give Three Trees another shout out. Thank you for a great Gorilla Glue joint. So for 20 plus years we've been together. I think for 20 of these years, every time you said the word tea, BAG, I would just start laughing. Hysterically, obnoxiously.
Teabag. If I said teabag, that's what would happen. So I go to Starbucks and I would be like, can I have a grande ginger lemon tea? And they'd be like, or I would say, well, how many tea things do you put in there? And they'd be like, what? And I'm like, I just can't even say the word. I can't even say it. And then he'd be standing over my shoulder and I'd be like, just the tea things, the little pouch with the tea in it. Are there one of those or two in a grande? And they're like, tea bags? And then this. Everywhere we go.
It took about 5 years of me consistently laughing at you for you to finally take the BAG out of your vocabulary.
I just don't even use it. I don't even go there. Just like every time we go to a drive-thru, he screams out the window, can I get a cheeseburger? Hold the onion. It doesn't matter where we are.
Except for a burger place.
Yeah, you don't do it.
It's the only time I don't ever do that.
Oh my gosh. And then he cracks up and then the person is like,
gets
what?
So mad.
Are you okay? What do you want?
Remember, I think I got 2 comments back from people. I think we were at a Dunkin' Donuts one time and I said, can I get a cheeseburger, hold the onion? And the person said, we don't carry that here. and then we were at Taco Bell and I said that and the kid got mad. He's like, this is your husband? You were like, yeah. She goes, and he just gives me the like
a
yeah.
Clown. You're a clown.
Oh shit.
Clown.
International news. This is very sad. And I hope it doesn't really truly happen. Amsterdam is banning cannabis use on the streets of the red light district.
Why?
I mean,
seriously, like why? After
in a
all
bid
these
to
years?
improve the quality of life for residents. See, here's the thing.
Because not everybody wants to.
But here's
smell
the thing. Amsterdam is not for cannabis. The coffee shops are. It's illegal
elsewhere, right?
So, I mean,
it's like a special use.
Yes. Residents of the old city center experience a lot of nuisance.
I didn't know that you could smoke outside, actually.
From mass tourism and alcohol and drug abuse on the streets. The municipality of Amsterdam said it in a statement on Thursday. Tourists also attract street dealers who in return promote criminality and security. You're walking past the red light district where you have half-naked women selling their bodies. So you're going to tell me smoking cannabis, and nothing wrong. That's a profession. I'm not making fun of that at all. What I'm saying is, though, why can't you smoke cannabis on the street when you have women men.
You've got prostitution and all of these other
all
really
this other
awful
stuff.
things. And
Yeah.
the smell of cannabis is the problem.
Right. They're trying to clean it up. It's estimated about 10 to 15% of Amsterdam's tourist industry is based on the red light district. That's a lot of tourism. For several years, We Live Here campaign has been used to make visitors aware that ordinary people live in the red light district. And the most recent Stay Away campaign, launched toward the end of last year, has focused on activity discouraging international visitors who plan to go wild in Amsterdam. This year, Amsterdam is expected to receive more than 18 million overnight visitors. By 2024, that number could reach 23 million, in addition to another 24 to 25 million day visits, according to the local authority research and statistics department. Crazy. Wow. Come on, Amsterdam. You were like the forefront leader at one time of what everybody admired about cannabis. Some global trends in cannabis this year. Canada, bring on the craft cannabis creators. It's the year of the craft grow. Okay. Europe, EU GMP standards will have a global impact on production. Good manufacturing practices that the EU is going to come up with. Africa. Can South Africa step up to lead the way? I think there's other areas in Africa that are going to do more. I think Nigeria, Zimbabwe, I can't pronounce it, Malawi. So I think there's going to be other big players, but I've been talking about Nigeria for a while. Mm-hmm. So South Africa is good too, but I think there's going to be some other big players in Africa. So Latin America is bubbling with over the opportunity. The buzz is about to boom. They've seen incredible influx of new deals, and the continent is specifically wanting software that works globally with compliances for cannabis. Suggests that groups of professionals are looking to make their mark locally and on the global stage. We've read about Colombia. We've read about Argentina. We've read about a lot of different countries, Uruguay, in South America, Latin America. So cool. Thailand, the wild, wild west of Eastern cannabis markets. Oh, yeah, baby. I need to go to Thailand just to smoke a fucking Thai stick and eat a lot of good street food and hang out and have a good time. I need to get there one day with Mrs. Weedman and meet some cool fucking stoner birders and potheads and have some fun and smoke some Thai sticks and get fucking baked. So I'm all excited. All right. So I posted this awesome fucking article on Successful Saturday. And I think this is a fucking beautiful story about a beautiful couple that is out there trying to fucking just do it right with cannabis. Mrs. Weedman, this is you. This is fucking just a great story. And
it's appropriate for Valentine's Day because it's just sweet and they seem like lovely people. So, medical couple hopes to break taboo surrounding medical marijuana. This is by Brett Campbell from the Daily Leader. The medical cannabis dispensary at 101 Whitebrook Drive off Highway 51 is the second dispensary to open in the city of Brookhaven, but the first to do so in a purposefully subdued manner. Magnolia Greens Dispensary opened for business on January 30th of 2023. We chose our name for the people who didn't feel so free to go into a place that was obviously labeled as a cannabis or marijuana dispensary, said Dr. Dennis Sanders Jr., who, along with his registered nurse wife, Eastlove, owns and operates the facility. We're a little more low-key. We have spent a lot of time and energy to make sure we can cater to the whole community. We want to help the grandma who doesn't want anyone to know she uses cannabis, or the high-profile community leader who may not be comfortable with people seeing him at the cannabis facility. We have some ambiguity. We have one of the biggest spaces in the surrounding area and one of the safest locations, found directly next to the police department, Sanders said. We're trying to break the taboo here in the buckle of the Bible Belt. Our location and name were chosen because we are purposeful in being discreet. The couple lives in Jackson and also owns a coffee house in Islove's hometown of Hazelhurst, Love's Coffee Bistro.
Love it.
Yeah. They buy their beans from a single small supplier where the way beans are sourced and roasted is just as important as the end product. Their approach to the medical cannabis business is similar. Purchase from small boutique suppliers that care about the product as much as they do. We met with growers to align our goals and interest on plants and patients and growing practices because cutting corners anywhere affects quality, Sanders said. I got into this to help people, not to make a quick buck. We've invested ourselves in this for years. We grew hemp for a while. We know intimately from seed to flower about this plant and how each part, variety, and strain will help people. The doctor said they started the Brookhaven project on a hope and a prayer, even entering into a rental agreement on the location before the city had even approved local facilities. We wanted to give people who were not in the capital city access to this alternative medicine, he said. We bring medical knowledge and genuine help to people. For the past 3 years, they have owned a private duty nursing agency, sending nurses. So they've got a coffee shop, a cannabis shop, and a nursing agency.
Fucking go-getters.
Sweet.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Go-getters. And if you haven't read the book Go-Getter, read it because this is this couple
them.
right here.
Sending nurses to homes with children of any age who help with anti-epileptic relief and other such treatments. So he goes and counsels families of children who have epilepsy and helps them get herbal medicine.
Amazing.
Yeah. Both medical professionals say they have seen firsthand the effects of cannabis oil and other medical marijuana products on people suffering from similar ailments. On our Facebook page, you can see a video of a child taking cannabis oil while having an active seizure, Dr. Sanders said. Within 15 seconds, it's gone. And there are no side effects, no hangover, and no way to overdose on
didn't
it.
we just talk about that? No hangover.
Yeah. Things like opioids have side effects. That's not the case with cannabis. Many pharmaceuticals can be addictive. Cannabis can be habit forming, but it's not addictive. There are no withdrawals if you stop taking the drug. These qualities make the use of cannabis important to Dr. Sanders. Regardless of the stigma cannabis use may have, the benefits far outweigh the negatives, he said. Alcohol, tobacco, and opioids are health menaces, but the one that has medical benefits is the one that has been demonized, he lamented. Due to the laws and regulations on medical cannabis in Mississippi, Dr. Sanders cannot prescribe medical marijuana or recommend specific doctors because he owns a dispensary. The Magnolia Greens Company can, however, assist potential patients in answering questions and applying online for cards through the Mississippi State Department of Health. We have about 2,000 square feet of lobby space. People can come in and talk with me or another employee at any time, Sanders said. The retail space is set apart from the lobby, and no one can see into it from here. Magnolia Greens is open. They run 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. We want patients to be comfortable, Sanders
I like
said.
that time, too.
Yeah.
It's not heavy burden retail hours where you got to be there at 8 a.m. and you work till 10 p.m. It's a nice, setting. 10 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep. So we want patients to be comfortable and to get the help that they've waited for so long. Just good people on a mission to make a difference.
People, amazing human
Really cool.
beings. I posted this. I was so highly impressed. I would love to sit and meet this couple and talk to them.
Yeah.
Just to shoot the shit because they're
Pretty
just
neat.
Awesome. People I'd love to hang out and smoke a joint with and get to know. Amazing. Amazing. It's just their whole fucking story. The Lord of the Rings. Great movie, great books, all of it. If you read them, if you watched them, whatever. Amazing. The Lord of the Rings pipeweed actually Middle-earth's cannabis. The Lord of the Rings makes no attempt to conceal the Hobbit's love of smoking, but is the pipeweed actually Middle-earth's version of cannabis? Fans of J.R. Tolkien's epic trilogy know the Hobbits and Gandalf love to smoke as my dad used to say, the O-beep. The O-beep. Love to smoke the pipeweed. Of course, director Peter Jackson made sure to include halflings' love of smoking in his Lord of the Rings films. However, the interpretation left audience joking and wondering whether pipeweed is actually Middle-earth's version of cannabis. While the idea of pipeweed being cannabis may seem silly, it isn't far-fetched. After all, hobbits are a peaceful race known for enjoying their gardens. Along with their green thumbs, their elaborate eating schedules of 7 meals a day,
which famously includes second breakfast, Elvanese, and afternoon tea, suggest they may have a bad case of the munchies. However, as funny as Cannabis in Middle Road sounds, Tolkien confirms that pipeweed is tobacco, not cannabis. Still, the Lord of the Rings text leaves a little wiggle room for interpretation. So, the Lord of the Rings, Tolkien details the hobbit's love of pipeweed, stating they implied or inhaled through pipes or clay or wood that smokes of burning leaves of herbs, which they called pipeweed or leaf, a variety of probably of nicotina. Nicotina, of course, is a Janus plant that includes tobacco. Tolkien himself was an avid tobacco user and particularly enjoyed smoking his obeep. While Tolkien's own habit was likely an inspiration for the Hobbit's beloved herb, this quote also creates room for interpretation by saying a variety of probably of nicotina. The probably suggests pipeweed could be another type of herb like cannabis. Jackson's film adaptation clearly hints as much, with Saruman condemning Gandalf's smoking by saying, "Your love of the halflings leaf has clearly slowed your mind." The Return of the King's movie also includes a scene of Merry and Pippin puffing on pipeweed with crescent eyes while eating and giggling. Although Tolkien's use and stance of cannabis use hasn't been confirmed, Jackson went on to playfully interpretation of the obeep weed. Nonetheless, though, his viewpoint made sense. In Unfinished Tales, a collection of stories and notes published by Tolkien's son, Christopher Gondorff's description of pipeweed suggests the herb produces mind-altering effects and euphoria. Following criticism from Gandalf replies, if you use the herb yourself, you might find that smoke blown out clear your mind of shadows within.
Ooh.
Anyway, it gives patience to listen to error with anger, but it is not one of my toys. It is an art of the little people away in the West. Although tobacco could be produced a mind-clearing quality for some, many attribute the sensation of cannabis use. While the Lord of the Rings novels blatantly compares pipeweed to tobacco, one can argue the text hints as a sneaky cannabis metaphor. 2. Jackson seemed to think so, and so do many fans. As noted by Leafly, cannabis breeders have gone on to use alternate names for pipeweed like Long Bottom Leaf, Old Toby, and Southern Star for their strains. No matter where Gandalf is actually the stoner that Sauron seems to think he is, pipeweed remains an iconic part of the Lord of the Rings universe and the cannabis community. Great story. That's the end of the show, Mrs. Weedman. I got baked again. I feel good. This
Me
is
too.
good. Thank you, Three Trees, for a good treat.
It was good.
Yes, delicious. I can't wait to meet you again and maybe get some more of your delicious flower because it was great. You deserve to make sure people get to smoke this fine cannabis you all grow over there. Free the plant so everybody can
Partake.
Yes. You got anything else to say, Mrs. Weedman?
Well, I don't know. Have a wonderful week. Stay healthy. Stay wise. Smoke your weeds.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody, and happy Valentine's Day to you, Mrs. Weedman.
Thank you, Mr. Weedman.
Make my heart nice and full.
Oh.
Hey, everybody out there in the world, we love you. Peace be with you all. Be kind to one another. Love one another out there. Too much shit going on in this world right now not to. Peace be with you all. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puffing away.
Puff, puff, pass.